Welcome back. In last video we learned HTML. So just by we wrote everything in the last video, and if you see the output, the web page, it looks like black and white. Our actual web page does not look like this. If you see our actual web page, let's say for Salesforce, you can see there is lots of styles, lots of color, there are some space, some box, yeah, there are lots of designs and styles and color, everything is there, but our web page looks like just like a black and white, plain text, nothing is there, no nothing. So how we can make it stylish with the color, with the design, with the padding, margin, how we can make that? To make all those things we have to use something called CSS. So let's learn CSS in this video. Let's go to our slide and learn about the CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, and the main purpose of the CSS is to provide a style, design. You just want to put means by using the CSS we can put the style, design, we can do lots of design. That thing we'll learn here. Okay, the first topic in CSS is CSS selector. There are three CSS selector. One is ID selector, and this is syntax for ID selector. Class selector, this is syntax, and the element selector. So this looks confusing, so better go to editor and try to implement and learn from there. Okay, I am here. Okay, so first thing, I just want to remove the whole thing. Let's remove it. I just want to keep the body and remove everything. Okay, so nothing is there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, first I'm going to create a separate file for CSS. I'm going to write index.css. okay, index.css, and this is our HTML, and another file is index.css. I'm going to create one. First let's learn element selector. Element selector, as we discussed in the slide. Okay, elements. What is element selector? In HTML video we learn what is element. So let's make one element. P, this is paragraph. Okay, so this is a element. Okay, this is a element. We can make one more element we can make. Let's say div. This is a div. Okay, and let's apply the style by using the element selector in P and div. Okay, so I'm going to here, and what is the syntax says? If you see the syntax here, for element selector, just provide the element name and start curly bracket, end curly bracket, and write your style there. Okay, so let's go there. So what is our element name for this? P, right? P, just write P, start curly bracket, end curly bracket, and you write your design, whatever design. Let's say I want to write color red. You can see the color should be red for P. Color should be red for, but it's not there. Color is not changing to red. Why? Because we have not included CSS file inside the HTML. So we have to include CSS file inside the HTML to make it effect. Okay, so how to include? You can include by using the link tag. There will be something called link. Here I'm going to provide inside the link. We have to provide some reference attributes, like there is something called this attribute, and this is a style sheet. It should come automatically, but it's not coming. And then there is something called href. In href you have to provide the path for your CSS file. Since it is in the same, just provide // and it will show. Okay, it will show your CSS, index.css, and just save it. Now you can see it is changing because we just connected CSS HTML. Okay, we included HTML inside the CSS. Okay, let's say we want to make something. Let's say border. Let's make border. Let's say 2 pixel 2 pixel and let's say some solid. So now you can say there is a border and there is, you know, some, we provided the border with the red color. Okay, let's do same with h tag. We did for p element, right? Let's do for div element. Similarly, we can, I hope you understand, you can just write div starting, closing, and let's say just color, let's make it green. Now color is green, it's changed to green. We can make border also, border, let's say 2 pixel and make it solid. So this is the way you can use the element name and you can put some design. Okay, so if you are using p, so whatever p tag will be here, for every p tag it will automatically design. Div, for every div will be automatically designed. Okay, okay, all right. So next, another selector was your something called class selector. Okay, so how to use the class selector? Let's say I'm trying to make one tag. Let's say I'm trying to make div tag. Okay, and I wrote this is a div. Okay, this is a div. Since I have already applied design per div, it is automatically coming because this is a div. So let's comment out this div. Okay, let's comment out div. Now this is just a plain text, I'm going to remove this div also for simple. I have one div. I want to apply some design by using class selector. So how we can use the class? So you have to provide inside the, you know, the tag, there is something called class, and you write some class names. Let's say ABC. I wrote the class. So for this element there is a class and the name of the class is ABC. By using this name of the class we can provide, you know, design for this class, this element. So how to use class? You just use dot, don't forget dot, then class name ABC starting and enter. Okay, and here you can provide something, let's say color, let's say blue, or let's say green, let's make it green, color green, and let's say something border, let's say 4 pixel solid. Now you can say there is a green with 4 pixel. Okay, so this is the way we have to write dot and then class name and this one. Okay, and another way is your another selector is ID selector. So how to use the ID selector? Why I'm not able to comment. Okay, ID selector. So how to use ID selector? Let's say I am writing one div tag. This is, I'm writing some content, this is for ID selector. Okay, we can see this is for ID selector. Okay, let's make it better, p paragraph tag, or let's say div only, let's make div. This is for ID selector. How to make ID? Similar to class, you just have to write here ID equal to and some ID name. Let's say I'm giving XYZ, some ID name, and I want to apply some design by using the ID selector because I have provided the ID. Go to here and just use pound key for ID. It should be pound key, then ID name is XYZ. We wrote there starting and end, and just write here color, let's say blue, or make this color any color, and you can say right here there is color for this ID, this for this element. By using the ID we provided some design. Okay, all right, let me minimize this for this purpose. Okay, so this is the way we can provide the design, right? We learned how to use the element selector, how to use the class selector, and how to use ID selector and how to provide the design. Okay, so the next topic is what are the different way to provide CSS or design. Okay, what are the different way to provide the design? So there are mostly three way. One way is to create the separate index.css file and include inside the HTML and provide the design. Okay, the second way could be like inline. There is something called inline design. In inline design, I wrote some line. In inline design, let's say I'm writing one header. I'm writing header and writing something. This is inline. This is inline design. So in inline design, I'm just how I can provide the design. Here I can just write a style, and here I can just write color blue. Whatever you design, you can just provide inside the design only. You can see we have not written anything inside the CSS file. We just provided here in the line in the HTML, and we can make the inline design. And guys, if you write like this inline, it will not be usable. But if you are writing the in the file all the design, you can use this design in other, because there may be multiple HTML page, right? So if you are using inline, you cannot use in another HTML, but it's a separate file we can use in different HTML page. And also it follows the concept called software engineering principle called separation of concern. Means you are separating files, like HTML is different file, CSS is different file, JavaScript is different file, and you are writing in different file. That is nothing but separation of concern. For example, let's say there is an issue in the design, you will not go to HTML, you will go directly to CSS and try to fix it quickly. So better to use that. So creating separate file is one way, inline design is the second way, and the third way is to external HTML. For example, there will be something called Bootstrap. By using the Bootstrap, you don't need to write the provide the design, you can get from online. Or in Salesforce, there is something called Lightning Design System. Salesforce Lightning Design. If you just Google in Salesforce, Google it, Salesforce Lightning Design System. So Salesforce has its own design system. You don't need to write, you don't need to do design by your own. You can see there is ready-made classes. You have to just use it. So this is the most used, and we will go through this. Like most of the time we will use this Salesforce Lightning Design for design. Will not write our own. And this is the most like developers, they use Salesforce Lightning Design System, and they use these codes in there for design purpose. So whatever I taught you in CSS, that is enough, and remaining thing we'll practice this Lightning Design System. So you can see everything will be there, class will be there. Just if you write this class, the box will be whatever you want. For everything there will be class. Okay, there is like utility class. You can say if you want to alignment, borders, box, float, description, grid, margin, padding, everything will be ready-made. We have to just use it, that's it. Okay, one more important topic I have to discuss here is CSS box model. This is very important, so try to understand the CSS box model. This is you can see this picture I have taken from internet. So whatever we write is content. Content will have some width and height, and the distance with the gap between the border and content is known as the padding. Remember this word, padding. The distance between or gap between the border and content is padding, and the distance between the the browser and the border, there will be some distance, right? That is known as the margin. So try to remember this word, margin and padding. Okay, so let's go to our code and understand what is padding, margin, and how it looks like. So this is our code. Let's comment out all this thing. I'm just commenting out. Comment out everything. Okay, so I removed almost everything. Let's remove this also. And where is one extra comment? This is, I think. Okay, now everything is removed. Okay, let's remove this also. Okay, so that we can get some extra space. All right, and I'm writing one, let's say I'm writing one paragraph P, or let's write some div, better write some div, and I'm writing this is div1. Okay, so this is division 1. Okay, now let's go to our CSS and provide some design for div by using the element selector. So as I said, for element selector, just you have to write the element, whatever element you want to provide. I want to provide for div, and write something, some, you know, some design. Let's say I'm writing color, let's say blue, and some border, let's say some 3 pixel solid. Okay, so this we make. Okay, so what is padding? Let's go to padding. I'm providing some, let's say 10 pixel. Let's provide some 10 pixel. Pixel is nothing but the size we are giving. Okay, this is number. If you increase, it will increase. So you can see the padding. Once I provided the padding, the gap between, this is the border, right? This is the border, and this is the content. The gap between the border and content got increases by 10 pixel from all way, from this side also, this side also, this side also. Okay, and this side, since it's like that, it's more. Okay, if you want to give padding only button, you can provide like that. Padding, just put dash. You can see options like left, top, bottom, right. There are different way, right? So if you want to provide top, you can make it top. So you can say button, there is no padding. On the top there is padding. Okay, next thing is margin. See, there is no gap distance here. You can say it's tossed, right? So but if I provide the margin, let's say 20 pixel, you can see some distance. There is some distance, we got some distance gap between here. Okay, let's say I'm making padding is some 60. You can see there is some distance gap you got. Also there will be option like padding left, padding left, padding top, padding block, left, top, right, everything will get. So according to your requirement, you can provide the padding. You learned how to provide the padding, what is padding, what is margin, what is border, everything will learn. Okay, so this is all you should know to learn Lightning Web component. This is all design you should know. These are like the basic concept, and the mostly we will be using in our course the Lightning design system, and we'll learn everything is given, whatever you want, everything, different text style, sizing, different thing will be, margin, layout, everything will be there. We just need to practice and learn. So this we'll be using, and these are the things we may need. Okay, so before ending this video, let's revise. Okay, so what we learned selector, we learned like what is CSS and where to use. Okay, and what is use of the CSS. Second thing, we learned the selector, 3 selector in the CSS. One is your element selector. Element selector means we provide how to use element selector. We have to provide the element name, curly bracket start, and provide that element selector. Second, we learn class selector. In class selector, we provide the class and class name, key value, and then by using this class, we first put a dot, then class name, and provide. Then we learn the ID selector. Inside ID selector means what we learn, we gave the ID name for one element, right? And by using that ID name, this pound key, ID name, start and end bracket, and then we give the design. Okay, so 3 way learn. Also we learned what are the different way to provide the CSS. One is by creating the separate file and putting all the design, everything there, and include inside the, if you don't include inside the HTML, it will not work. We have to include it. Okay, by this way. Second way, we learn like inline. inline design, just on the element only we provided the style. And third way is to use the external external design. For example, in Salesforce we use the lightning design system, and we'll include this inside our HTML, and we should be able to use all its design. So once we start working with on lightning web component, we'll see how to include this lightning design system in our HTML component, and how to use all this. Everything we'll discuss, everything, whatever you see, everything we discuss, we use and we design awesome lightning components. Okay, yeah, that's all about this video. In next video we'll start the JavaScript. That is the most important part of lightning web component. And once you are confident with the JavaScript, then we'll start building the lightning web component. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned, we'll see in next video. Thank you.